It is Wednesday, my dudes, and you know what that means. It is time once again to revisit Adventure Woods, the theme park that I'm building in the video game Planet Coaster, and it is called Adventure Woods. And I start this video off by saying it is Wednesday, my dudes, because it is my intention to publish this video on Wednesday like I always do. But yesterday, for me, was Thursday, the 24th of November, and I published Planet Coaster on that day because I just completely forgot to publish an Adventure Woods episode on the Wednesday of this week. So hopefully, future Matt, whenever the future is with this video, when does this video come out? So this is episode 12, I think, and I've just published episode 8. So 4 weeks, so about a month away, basically. So hopefully Matt figured it out and everything is tickety-boo. So, what are we doing in today's episode if the title and thumbnail did not do a good job of explaining? Well, I'm glad you asked, hypothetically. We're going to be building the backstage area of Adventure Woods. So we're going to be doing a lot of things in one episode. There's quite a lot of content. It took a little while to get this edited down to a nice length, and even then it's like, just over 35 minutes-ish. I always say it. I've noticed for like a lot of these videos, I've said, this video is about 45-ish minutes, and then it turns out to not be that at all, because while I was doing the commentary, I noticed some like big blunder and I ended up having to change the order of things, and then my predicted timing was inaccurate. So I'm just saying it's going to be about just over the half an hour mark is what I anticipate. So we're going to be building, like I said, all the backstage area. So as you can see, I've pretty much finished building this big warehouse thing here with these truck loading bays. We're going to build another this is the most like grandiose structure of the backstage area, but the others are like fairly well built as well, but this is probably the most detailed building. And the eagle-eyed among you, or elephant-brained among you, because an elephant never forgets. Not that I'm accusing you of being an elephant, by the way, just to get that out of the way. Unless, of course, that would be a compliment, in which case, you do you long-nosed elephant, you. Anyway, where was I going with this? Yes, there were people who have good observational skills and memory may have noticed that this is basically a carbon copy of the warehouse that I built for Velocity Lake. Because I really liked that warehouse, and I was like, I don't think I could really improve upon that. I really liked how that came out. It's one of my favorite buildings of Velocity Lake. Let's just build it again. But I do think I improved it somewhat. I just added a few more little details. I tweaked some of the color schemes. It's got a red roof now instead of a blue roof. That's like, whoa, major change there. And just a few other things. Like I added a few more throughout this episode. Well, not throughout, but like 4 segments of this episode, you'll see me cluttering up the space, and I'm trying to do this more throughout the park. Just generally, a lot of my Planet Coaster parks I've built in the past have been fairly sterile. Like they're very clean and neat. Like if you were to build a model of a theme park, like a model railway but a theme park, it would probably look like this, where everything is just laid out just how it should be, but that's it. Whereas I'm trying to make it feel a bit more not lived in, right? Because no one lives here, hopefully. But, a little bit more like how it would look in real life. So there's going to be like barrels and little things scattered around, like the lifter things. What's it called? It's got a name, and it's a weird name, and I can never remember. It's like a wheelbarrow. There's like 2 wheels, and there's a picture of it on screen. I'm just gonna put a picture. These things, they're gonna be, scattered around as well, because workers will use them and then forget to put them back from whence they came. Yeah, what are those things called? They've got I'm sure I've heard, my dad works in trade and he uses them, but he gives them his name and I never remember. But to get that image, I just Googled the word mover thing. And it was that's what came up. And I clicked on you click on the image on Google search, and it will give you a brief summary of, what the thing that you've clicked on is, and it just says moving company. Hey, by the way, quick POV here of the Wild Woods roller coaster, because as you can see, hopefully I've done a good job obscuring that warehouse. I've said this in like every episode with this roller coaster featured pretty much, but basically the idea behind this particular roller coaster is that it looks like the train is disappearing into the proverbial wild woods, and it's like a big adventure. You're going deep into the woods and then re-emerging, but in reality, as you can see, you're just going like basically nowhere, and you're just going into the backstage area. But I wanted to keep the suspense and, you know, allow guests to continue suspending their disbelief and make it feel like you're disappearing into the woods, and so I had to occlude this whole area with that wooden fence. Took a long time to do, or not a fence, but, you know, the wooden wall on the roller coaster. I probably didn't need to elaborate, right? You guys are pretty smart. You're watching this series, you know. Most of my subscribers don't. Most of my subscribers are not 10,000 IQ individuals such as yourselves. So, you probably figured that out. But I'm just saying. So that's the main warehouse there done, and I'm satisfied that it's completely obstructed from the view of the Wild Woods roller coaster, which is my biggest thing that I wanted to get out of this area, at least for now. Now I'm building another warehouse, and, you know, I spent a lot of time building the other one. I know for you guys it's been like just over 5 minutes, but for me it was a few hours, and I was like, just can't be bothered to do another one. So I'm just going to do, again, what I did in Velocity Lake, where all the other warehouses I built were just much more simplistic and boxy, but I still think this came out pretty well nonetheless. Now, this backstage area is nowhere near as extravagant as Velocity Lake's backstage area. I'm saying as if you guys remember this. This was like over 2 years ago, I think, the Velocity Lake backstage area. But I'm just saying that park had a huge backstage area, and it was just filled with just loads of clutter and junk. Not like the clutter I mentioned, but just things like I added like 3 Abrams tanks. Because, like, oh, what if they do a Veterans Day thing, even though the park's set in the UK where that's not already a thing. So, whatever. I just basically wanted to put every single prop that I liked the look of, but couldn't fit into the park, into the backstage area, just as like a hypothetical. And I just thought, it's a bit overkill. The backstage area did not really need to be that big. So I'm scaling it back for Adventure Woods for a couple of reasons. The first reason is all that stuff I just mentioned, and also Adventure Woods is a smaller park. You know, I did set out for this to be like, this series would have ended by now had the park ended up being the size that I set out to make it, so a very small, low budget park. But I realized I like playing Planet Coaster, and I'm just gonna carry on building stuff to my heart's content. So it ended up being a bigger park than I anticipated, but it's still smaller than Velocity Lake. I think Velocity Lake was just a little bit I don't know. I really like Velocity Lake, to be fair. There was it wasn't perfect. I like to think that this park is better than Velocity Lake in many ways. It is smaller, but I feel like the attention to detail is just a little bit better. The one thing I hate about Velocity Lake, and this is not like a massive tangent, like it is related to the backstage area. One of the things I really disliked about Velocity Lake, and in fact all of the parks I've built in Planet Coaster thus far, aside from Adventure Woods, I hope, is that the not emergency, but the service road access has always been a little bit lackluster. So, in real theme parks, generally there is the means for cars and trucks like ambulances, for example, or firefighter vehicles to quickly navigate around the perimeter of the park. There'll be like a road that goes around the outskirts of the theme park's border, and then there's access gates placed intermittently around the theme park's border so that they can just enter the theme park really quickly. And also for things like, I don't know, cranes and trucks if you need to transport a roller coaster train off the track and, I don't know, return it back to Amazon, you know, where you bought it from. It didn't come out very well. Then you can do that. And Velocity Lakes was very much an afterthought. Velocity Lake, I added loads of like big terrain sculpting around the borders of the park, which looked really nice, but it wasn't very conducive to building realistic roadways. So it was all very janky and steep and didn't look very good. So in this park, I try to not make it an afterthought. I tried to keep it in the back of my mind for the entirety of this park. Like, how are we going to build an access road that goes around the park's perimeter to allow access to all the major zones of the theme park? And in addition to this, I also wanted to make sure that like all the roadways were nicely integrated from the get-go. Again, Velocity Lake, I went in guns blazing like, oh, let's build the parking lot, and yes, it's going to be good. Then I was like, did that, and then I was like, oh, we probably need a space for the coaches, so I had to sort of awkwardly find a space for coaches. It looked terrible. And then I was like, oh, we probably need a separate entrance for staff, and then I had to just I ended up just making like this sort of junction just off the main entrance, just saying, if you're a staff member, go here. And it just looked really, it was super unrealistic. I think, maybe there is a park somewhere that uses a road layout like that, but I just think it was very inefficient road layout. So this time I wanted to make a proper set out. I used a pen and paper, so I was really swatting up. I decided, right, there's going to be an entrance specifically for entrance. So let's try that again. There's going to be an entrance specifically for the cars, the guests, the patrons of the park. And there's going to be a specific entrance for coaches. There's going to be completely separated from the car park. And there's going to be a proper separated entrance for HGV deliveries and, for staff as well. And I like to think that I achieved these goals. And I've already kind of talked about this already because I've already filmed that. You guys have already seen the episode. I would assume if this is the first episode that you've seen of this series, then you probably wouldn't have made it this far in the video, to be honest. You're like, what is this? And then clicked off and gone to watch your Fortnite, your Minecraft epic gamer videos, even though I've made Minecraft content before. And I'm not saying that those videos are bad by any means. I'm just saying you're probably watching normie content. By normie content, I mean content that is popular and interesting and not weird, random, rambly Planet Coaster stuff where I don't talk about anything that's on screen that's relevant. For example, the construction of this building, which is now complete. And I have not even acknowledged the fact that I'm building it. It was based on Gartree High School. I didn't go to this school, but my younger sister did. It's a school in Oadby, Leicester. That's where I'm from. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that publicly. If you're from Oadby or from Leicester, I'm sorry. I know the feeling. It sucks, doesn't it? But maybe comment below and I might see that. But yeah, Oadby, the Grange Estate. Let's go. Anyone from there? What a terrible. It's not good. I was very happy to leave Leicester. I mean, Leicester's. I'm doing a disservice. It's not that bad, but it's. And I say like that. I live in Plymouth now. Plymouth's hardly, a stellar location, but it's nicer than Leicester, which is. I don't know if that's really even saying anything, but whatever. I'm adding some. Moving on from this, whatever this was. I'm adding some air conditioning ducting to the top of this building, which I've never actually done before. I've never built real. Actually, no. Did I do it for the Just Ribbon shop? Actually, I don't know, and I don't care to stop this commentary, stop this train wreck of a ramble, and go and find out. So let's just assume I haven't and move on. I don't know what I based this on. I might have gone on Gartree High. No, I might have gone on Google Maps, looked at Gartree High School, and looked at the. If there was any air conditioning ducting on the roof, and if you do that and see that there isn't, that isn't what I did. But I definitely based this ducting layout on something, and I do not know what. But I'm just saying it was based on a real building. I looked at the aerial photography and I was like, I'm just gonna copy this. So if you guys complain that it's unrealistic, then you are incorrect, my friend, my foe. I based it on a real thing, so sue the architect of that building if it's done inefficiently or unrealistically. Pick one, I'm just, oh, well, how far are we into this video? Oh, we've still got quite a ways to go. Well, what is there for me to talk about in my life? I think one of the biggest things that I've achieved recently is I've been trying to sort of ramp up my PC setup for the release of Kerbal Space Program 2, which now has an official release date. I actually knew the release date before you normies did. I had early access to the announcement, but I obviously couldn't share that on Planet Coaster content, so here we are. But yeah, that's coming out, in theory, who knows, in, I've already forgotten, February, right? Towards the end of February, 23rd? Something like that. Anyway, yes, it's coming out soon. So I thought, let's step up my content. So I thought, let's start producing 4K content. Because I'd really like to be able to produce 4K content when KSP2 comes out. But I don't want to start producing it because I'll probably mess it up. And I'll probably won't have a clue what I'm doing. So I'm going to just start doing it with KSP1. And we'll go from there. So for the record, Adventure Woods is only ever going to be in 1440p because I've said before in this series that the entire thing has been filmed and that was filmed in 1440p. But I've since bought two 4K monitors. They're really good. They're Samsung Odyssey G7, 28-inch IPS, 144 hertz, 4K. They're pretty beefy things. And yeah, they're working well. And I also bought an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 graphics card. And I received the card, took a picture of the box, and then put it under my bed. I was too scared to install it because I've seen all the Reddit posts of it catching fire, or specifically the cable melting and burning down. And I was like, oh, I've bought it. I didn't plan to buy it at that moment. I was like, I'm going to buy it once I know that it's not going to burn the house down, basically. But at the same time, RTX 4090s sold out everywhere completely when they released. And I was like, oh, it's going to be like the 3000 series all over again, where it's impossible to get hold of. So I just happened to I was in the right place at the right time on Scan Computers UK, and they had 4090s in stock. They had the good ones as well, like the MSI X Trio, which is what I bought in the end. And I was like, oh my god, they're in stock. I should just get one. I'm just going to buy it. So I just bought it because I did fully intend to upgrade my graphics card. Like my graphics card before the 4090 was the 2080 Ti, which has served me really well. And the 2080 Ti is still a beast of a card. It's now living in my girlfriend's computer, which is also the backup computer to my YouTube gaming business. So I do need a good computer as a backup for if I have a blue screen of death issue, like I did recently with the PC that I had before this current one. And yeah, so that the 2080 Ti is living in that computer now. It's really good. And I also purchased a different power adapter. So at the time when I bought it, people didn't really know why the NVIDIA power adapter lead was melting. You know, NVIDIA hadn't released a statement, and Jay's 2 cents and Igor's lab were throwing out these crackpot theories that, oh, it's because of this one producer of the components, and it turns out it's always user error. Like Gamers Nexus dropped an absolute bombshell of a video. Was that a pun? Because it's like they dropped a firebomb of a video. They dropped a Molotov cocktail of a video where they literally took melted cables, froze them in epoxy, sawed it in half. They put it through a mass spectrometer. They did all this analysis, and they concluded that basically there's a chance that they could be melting because of foreign debris. But the vast majority of cases, it seems to be that people aren't plugging the cards in properly because there's no audible click when the cord gets plugged into the RTX 4090. So that's why. So I was like, okay, great. It's safe. But at that point, I'd already ordered the Corsair cable because I've got a Corsair power supply. So I thought I'll just get the Corsair cable because then it's like it works with the power supply. It does look a lot nicer than the NVIDIA adapter. And I plugged it in and it did a proper audible click. I tried pulling it out and it didn't budge at all. So I'm confident that the cable is plugged in. It's not going to melt or anything like that. And that was a big thing. It was a scary thing buying the 4090. And it was a scary thing thinking like, oh, do I plug it in? But I've plugged it in and it's all fine. And that's something I did there. There was something else I feel like I wanted to talk about with the upgrades to my PC, but I cannot remember what. Oh yeah, I tweeted it. I posted a picture on Twitter of it, and everyone was like, "Why have you got that? Like, it's so overkill. Just get a 3070. It's like that runs KSP fine." I'm like, literally, you understand that I'm a PC gaming channel, right? And also, my GPU is not just used for gaming. It's used for things like rendering 4K content and previewing 4K content. And also, it's good to just be future-proofed, right? I don't know how well-optimized KSP2 is going to be, especially because it's releasing in early access. So who knows what the optimization is going to be like. And there's that other game by Bethesda, Starfield, is it? I'm not going to Google it, but you guys know what I mean. There's a space game coming out, and that looks very good. That might, require a 4090 to be able to play at 60 FPS 4K. I personally will be playing it at 144 FPS 4K, but for YouTube videos, 60 FPS I believe is still the max. So I need to be able to, at minimum, achieve 60 FPS constant 4K. So I need a good graphics card. I just to be able to future-proof it as well. And also, bottom line, I just like having nice things. Sorry, everyone. I just like having a nice, good, beastly PC. And also, like, when I built I mentioned the blue screen of death thing. I mean, I'm not going to rehash that story, but long story short, I had this horrible blue screen of death issue. It was this massive thing. I hot swapped every component, bought a new CPU, bought a new motherboard, nothing fixed it, so I just bought a new PC completely, and it fixed the problem. So obviously something in the old PC was broken. I can't possibly tell you what. Maybe it was the AIO or the case or something, whatever. I bought a new PC, but I also bought a new power supply for this PC because even though I'd verified that the blue screen of death issue was not being caused by the power supply on my old computer, I still wasn't really sure. So I'm just going to buy a new power supply because I know that the 4090 series, the 4000 series is rumored to be coming out in a couple of months, and that was a rumor that turned out to be true. And also, rumor has it that these cards are going to be very, very, very power hungry. So I'm just going to buy a really, really good PSU. So I bought a 1200 watt PSU. And it turned out that rumor was true as well. So I saw the 4090 came out and I was like, well, I've bought the PSU to justify this. I am like, let's face it, it's my job to record PC gameplay. It's a business expense. So I thought, let's just get the 4090, future-proof my computer, make things a bit easier for the whole rendering thing, and ensure, without a doubt, hopefully, that KSP2 will run really, really well at 4K, at least 60 FPS, and I can make good content for you all. Because I feel like when KSP2 drops, everyone's like, oh, Matt Lown's channel is going to blow up again when KSP2 comes out. And I hope that is the case. But I'm aware that, like, with KSP1, all the actual big YouTubers like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, are these guys even still big? I feel like I live in like 2016 still. But like big gaming YouTubers are going to jump on it. You know, KSP2, we say it's a niche nerdy game, but like when the trailer dropped for KSP2 all the way back in the ancient times of 2019, that hit the front page of Reddit. You know, that would go like thousands of upvotes. Everyone saw it. I was like, oh, this is going to be like a big... So it's probably going to be a big mainstream event at first, at least. So loads of all the big Titan YouTubers are going to start making content. So I need to do as much as I can to separate myself from the crowd. And I realize I'm coming from a great place of privilege. I mean, for me, right in this moment, I've got just over 500,000 subscribers. I think that's like... I'm at 512,000, I want to say. And believe you me, that's 512,000 more than I thought I would ever get when I set out. I didn't even start this YouTube channel with any intention of doing anything as a career. I just made a video for a KSP Reddit challenge because I couldn't be bothered to put an Imgur album together. And here we are now. Me commentating over a video and also not addressing anything that's in the video. Well, I just realized we're so far through and I've like not looked at the screen once. I've been staring at the moving thing on my second screen. It's still that Google image search of moving thing or mover thing. And so I've just been looking at like Amazon warehouse stock photos of people moving cardboard boxes around. So that's fun. Hopefully there was nothing I needed to talk about directly in the footage, but hopefully the footage did a good job explaining things for me. I have now turned my attention to the main screen so I can look at some footage playing back. And to be honest, I'm like, yeah, I'm just constructing parking lot stuff. And there we are. There we are. We've constructed this curb. Oh, we need to join it. So you know what I mean? It's like probably not that interesting, actually, in hindsight, talking directly about the footage. But I mean, talking about directly about the footage, we're going to look at a POV in 3, 2, 1. Oh ho! I knew that was going to happen because I was looking at the video editing timeline. So that's definitely worth a like. That's worth a like. Guys, like the video. Please like the video. I beg of you. My family is starving and no one watches these videos, and I really want people to watch them because I think this park is cool. It's a cool thing. So like the video, and that will probably do an infinitesimal impact of the video's performance on the YouTube algorithm. You know, it helps. And also subscribe, you know, so you can get my videos in your feed, and comment, and I will probably see your comment because there aren't many on this series, and so I will probably see it. It won't get buried in a sea. And I do like the comments on these videos, to be fair. Like, even like I'm not Space this week actually, but like Kerbal Space Program stuff, there's so many toxic comments now, and it's like, I get it, guys. You're better than me, and I suck at this game. But I'm just saying, I made this video, and I've just noted that the footage is now crossfaded, but I'm now watching some footage that like it's just frozen on screen. Oh no! I said earlier in the video that like this video is going to be 35 minutes long, and I'm just now looking at a static shot of a frozen game in front of me. Oh, it's still frozen. Oh no! So clearly I'm going to have to delete all of this. I'm going to go back and cut where it froze and then delete however many minutes of footage is. How did I miss this when I was cobbling it together? I put so much care and attention into it. Well, whatever. I ain't perfect at the end of the day. So yeah, this video is not going to be 35 minutes long apparently, I guess. So yeah, anyway, I mean, going back to the subject of me upgrading my PC, these two monitors, they are great, but I also I would not recommend, I'm sorry, Samsung, they are good monitors, but I wouldn't recommend 4K at a mere 28 inches. Just stick with 1440p, guys. I can't really tell a difference. Like, I fired these monitors up and I was like, oh, it all looks exactly the same. But now loads of things don't work quite so well. Like, a lot of my software doesn't scale quite as well as it did to 4K. And, like, obviously the graphics horsepower you need from your GPU suddenly goes up. And I just think it's a bit of a... Unless you're getting, like, a 32-plus inch monitor, just stick with 1440p, honestly. Is fine. It looked okay. And also, like, these monitors are having, like, problems, and I don't know what's causing it. Like, I keep having to pause this commentary because it seems to be that, like, Vegas Pro, the editing software I use, seems to mess with these monitors. Like, it keeps on thinking the source has changed. And I think this is, like, a known thing with the G7 monitors, and you need to update the software, and I haven't done that. So I'm going to try and update the software at some point after this video. Not today. I can't be bothered. It's getting late. It's 9 o'clock in the evening for me. So I got to cook dinner after this. So I'm going to do it at some point, but probably not tonight. I need to update the software and hopefully that will fix it. But yeah, the monitors keep flickering. They like go black and then it says DisplayPort input and then it flicks back to the PC. And so it's like, you know, when you probably guys know how, like, you've used monitors before. So you plug a monitor into a PC for the first time, turn the monitor on, and it will, like, switch, like, HDMI black, and then it will go to DisplayPort, and then it will light up. And so that's what it's doing. It's like, it looks like it's auto switching source, but I have disabled auto source switching in the monitor settings. So I don't know why it's doing this. And it never does this normally. It's only running when it's running Vegas Pro. And it's not the cable, because I've got two of the exact same monitor in front of me, and they both have different cables. One of them is using the cable that the monitor came with. The other is using this DisplayPort 1.4. Well, they're both DisplayPort 1.4s, but one of them is the one that came with the monitor. The other one isn't. It's a really high premium cable I bought for my old 1440p monitors, which I didn't need, but I bought in order to future-proof the setup. So if I ever did upgrade to 4K, 60 FPS, 144 FPS, I could just use the same cables. And that one's doing it as well. Both monitors do it. So it's not the cable. I don't know what it is. Hopefully it's the software. I don't know. Anyway, yes, so I need to make dinner after this. And it's, well, hello, Beth. I'm assuming we're proof watching this video again together like we normally do. It's now a tradition as a couple. We just proof watch me playing Planet Coaster and rambling over the footage. But yeah, I asked Beth if she could start preparing dinner for me. For the record, I love cooking. I usually cook the meals for us because I just enjoy cooking. It's like a nice way to relax. And one of my favorite meals to eat and also cook is curry. And that involves the cutting and chopping of onions and potatoes. And I asked Beth to do that tonight because there's no easy way to say this, guys. I have injured my hand once again. I know this is like a meme on this channel. Like last year, I broke it and then I burned it. I was put in a cast twice in a year, which is weird. Like, well, to be fair, it was two different hands, right? I broke my right hand and burned my left hand, but like it's yeah. But now I've like broken my hand again. Well, I've not broken it. I hope. I don't know. Basically, this is really embarrassing, but you guys are my friends. We're 29 minutes into this commentary at this point, so only my loyal besties are here right now. Blue Banana Farmers represent. So I'm comfortable sharing this story with you guys. So a couple of nights ago, me and Beth were we had a little glass of wine. You know, I wasn't like smashed, but we were a bit merry, and we went upstairs, to go to bed, and there was this big, massive spider on the wall of our bedroom, and we both hate spiders. Like I wouldn't describe myself as arachnophobic, but like I don't like spiders. Like I don't want anything to do with them. Like I would just kill them. I won't pick them up and take them outside. They are gonna die if they're in my house. And there was this massive, biggest spider I've seen in my life, kind of like on the wall of the bedroom, and I was like, oh no! And then Beth got really scared. Even Hurricane the cat wanted nothing to do with this spider. It seemed he came into the room, looked at the spider, and he literally left. Like he didn't run out, but he just waddled off. So I'm like, oh, maybe he doesn't understand. He's just an idiot, that cat. But I was like, don't worry, Beth, I shall save you. I did like a roundhouse kick at the spider. Like I didn't do a full force one, obviously, because it's a spider. I just did like a play, like and then like a little tap on the wall. But I obviously misjudged my own strength, because I did the kick and my foot, it entered the wall. Like I basically have now kicked a hole in the wall of my bedroom. In my defense, I live in a very old house. It's a Victorian house. I don't think it's ever been replastered since it was built, because literally I was installing a light switch in another room of the house. I like screwed a screw into the wall to put the light switch in, and then 1 meter away, so like, I don't know, 1 foot, I don't know what a meter is in American language, I'm sorry, but about a meter away, they're about an AR-15 length away, a bit of wall just fell off. Like the plaster in this house is just falling apart. I had my kitchen redone in 2020, and that they just said, yeah, this whole thing needs replastering. So the plaster, I blamed the plaster. Like I obviously accept some level of blame. The fact that I did a cartoonish play karate kick that probably was excessive force, but I maintain that like it's just the house is falling apart. So we're gonna get now that there's like an actual need for it, I'm gonna get a painter and decorator around and just get the house replastered, painted, recarpeted. We're gonna put some live, laugh, love signs up in every room, in every crevice, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that's the life update for me. I've not done a video for Planet Coaster in quite a while because I've been kind of avoiding it. I just did the parking lot video for you guys. No, I just did the most recent video I made was the parking lot video, and I was like, that was so difficult to make it. So I was like, I just didn't bother. So now I'm back, and hopefully this commentary lived up to the hype or lack thereof. Hey, here's a good part of the video. I decided to add some bike storage because I am a cyclist. Yes, I try and cycle whenever I can because I like trying to do my part helping the environment, and also I think we as a society in the UK especially are way too dependent on cars. So I wanted to like try and lessen my use of the car, and yeah. So but most places I go to, there's no bike storage or bike parking, and so I wanted to make bike parking for this park here. So there we are. And hey, we're on a POV, and I hope you'll agree that I did do a pretty good job in masking off the backstage area of Adventure Woods from the Wild Woods roller coaster. And roller coasters, here is another one. It's the Dragonflight. I forgot the name of it. It's Dragonflight roller coaster. I'm showing it to add some visual flair as I play the end screen. There's no list of patrons, unfortunately, because like I say, I record these videos way in advance, so this is going to be out of date by the time this goes out. So I'm just going to play the normal outro. But if you want to join my Patreon, hey, you can. There's a link on screen. But don't feel obligated. Like, you guys are my friends. You watch these videos. You made it this far. I'm probably out of time right now.